Hi, everyone. We are joined today by Abbey Gartner, the Communications and Program Coordinator at BITE. Abbey is here to speak on prevention strategies and how to engage youth in promoting and supporting mental health, suicide, and substance use interventions. Welcome, Abbey.
Hi, thanks everyone. I am super excited that we were approached to speak for the summit today. I feel really honored in our work that we were reached out to. As Candace introduced, my name is Abbey. I use she, they pronouns. I am the program coordinator at BITE. I've been here for roughly 3 years. My role entails a lot of community outreach for our organization, organizing some of our community events like the skate competition and the Battle of the Bands. I also manage some of the programs at BITE, such as Connected North. And in my free time, I am one of 13 network reps for an organization called Jack.org, which is a national charity that is working to empower young leaders to revolutionize mental health through advocacy. That's a bit about me. I have a quick little video to show, to talk a bit about BITE. If I can get that pulled up, Mike, that would be great. Awesome. So if you can skip forward to slide 3, that would be great.
Our mandate at BITE is to create spaces for young people to lead happy, healthy lives that fulfill them. Sometimes in the North, we feel so isolated, and younger people down South have more opportunities. So to know that there's people that want to work with us youth up here and want to give us opportunities is really important.
BITE really helps youth in the communities by creating those spaces for youth to come together and to learn new skills and to really build their confidence and come out of their shells a lot more. And it's really special for us to see that growth happening.
I think what really motivates me to be on this panel and to do the work with BITE is that there's just so much energy in the youth, and I want to be part of that and show other youth that are coming up in the next generation that we can really have a voice in our community, and BITE's really helped us have that voice and make it heard.
If not, you just got to see our beautiful faces for a minute. So a bit about BITE. We are a by youth for youth organization. Our focus is on empowering and promoting youth throughout the Yukon and throughout Canada's North. We have a facilitation team that travels to communities throughout the Yukon, as well as northern BC and Atlin, and as well as the Beaufort Delta region and UT. We deliver innovative and relevant workshops to northern youth, as well as hosting events and different conferences and programming that foster creativity and culture. Everything that we do is about helping youth to develop confidence, skills, openness, and a sense of belonging. And we hope that we're doing a good job. And by being approached by YG, we think that reflects a bit about us. As well, we do consider ourselves to be a champion for youth organizations in the Yukon supporting youth issues. For example, back in 2004, we were the only organization in the Yukon that was working to support LGBTQ2S+ youth, as well as currently in 2022, we are working with the Yukon government to facilitate the Yukon Youth Panel on Climate Change over the past 2 years, which has been a really exciting experience for us. It's been great working with those youth, as well as getting to collaborate with Yukon government. Mike, if you can go to slide 5, that would be great. Awesome. So we Our mission at BITE is creating spaces for Northern youth to lead, and that looks like a lot of different things. That is through youth employment, that is through our workshops being youth-led. We have a lot of different opportunities for youth to get involved, as well as participating in our programming. And our vision is just like youth are supported, they have honed in on their strengths and their skills, and they're able to make decisions to lead healthy and happy lives. As well as we have started implementing the Yukon's 40 developmental assets into our programming lately. We took a training about a year and a half ago with YG, and it's been, really influential on how we look at our programming and how we develop our programming. So a couple of the assets that we identify with our organization is number 7, number 8, number 14, 15, 18, 27, 31, and 38. So those would be youth. The community values youth. So we believe that young people are valued in the community by adults. Youth as resources. So again, we're using youth as resources and giving them useful roles in the community through our youth employment, through programming. We believe that we, like our facilitation team, are good adult role models to the youth. Positive peer influence. We're hoping that through youth programming and through different opportunities, the young people's friends and circles are also modeling responsible behavior. Number 18, youth programs. So just by existing and by offering our services, we are filling that mandate. And then 27 would be equality and social justice, which is a big priority in our programming, which correlates in the 40 developmental assets to a young person respects themselves and others and places high value on sharing and cooperation. We teach a lot about equality and social justice in our workshops. Restraint, again, that ties back to young people making healthy decisions for their lives and being able to lead happy and healthy lives. And number 38 would be self-esteem. So young people feel that they have a connection to their family and their culture and have knowledge about it, and they take pride in it. Mike, you can jump to slide 6, please. Okay, so we have a couple different youth programs at BITE that we offer. And I can get into some of those. So starting at our most offered programming, we offer quite a few experiential workshops through BITE on all sorts of topics. For this workshop, we're going to focus a lot more on healthy minds, as we're talking about mental health, but some others that we think are included under the scope of mental health programming would be healthy relationships, safer partying, leadership. So we have quite a few that we consider underneath the mental health umbrella. As well as in the past, we've been able to offer some programs delivered through Living Works, which is an organization that provides trainings like suicide talk, safe talk, and assist. And those are all suicide prevention programs, but we are currently unable to provide those because we don't have anyone on our team who is certified. So we do have to find someone else in the community and work with them to be able to deliver those workshops. Other initiatives that we're running right now are the Yukon Youth Panel on Climate Change. We have noticed that youth are talking a lot about climate anxiety and how that's affecting their daily lives, which is definitely taking a toll on their mental health. We are also, we've just wrapped up a program called Youth That Lead, which we were able to gather some tangible feedback to support youth. We'll talk about that a bit later, which is really exciting. In December, we were able to deliver over 200 self-care kits to youth in the communities in December and January, which was really great to have funding for that. Another project that we are tied to is Communities Building Youth Futures, which is a collective of young people, youth-serving organizations, and community groups that are working together to support youth across the Yukon. And they kind of work in 4 different main areas. There's an individualized learning team, career inclusion team, mental health and wellness team, and also promoting youth voice. There's a youth summit that's going to be held next month. which is really exciting. And they're also developing a youth strategy for the whole territory, which is very exciting. If you want to learn more about what CBYF is doing, you can check out all of their work at cbyf.ca. Yeah, so that's kind of a good brief overview of all of the different programs that we do. Mike, if you can jump to slide 7, please. Thank you. So this is a little graph we prepared. We have experienced a fair bit of a drop in attendance to our workshops or participation in our workshops just due to the pandemic. We haven't been able to facilitate as many in-person workshops or have a presence in the schools due to the pandemic and restrictions changing. And obviously with youth and online learning, and as well as like organizations offering programming via Zoom, there's a whole lot of Zoom fatigue, and youth are feeling very burnt out and they're kind of checking out of programming. So we've like received feedback from youth noting this, and we've noticed less youth participation. So we kind of needed to take a step back as a team, and we ended up surveying like what was going on and what we could do to respond. And we ended up creating some interactive workbooks rather than trying to facilitate in-person workshops. And these workbooks were really created to be a guide for youth or for parents or guardians or their peers to have some of the tough conversations that we do have in our workshops around mental health or about substance use or about healthy relationships. Even if we can't be together for those conversations, they can still do them at home or in their free time if that's of interest to them. And currently we're working to offer more virtual workshops right now, as well as some opportunities to schools and community spaces. So we are really trying to still connect with youth and connect with teachers, as well as like recreation managers in the communities to still be able to offer our programming. And if you can jump to slide 8, please. So this is a fun little glimpse at some of the programming that we offer through Byte. These are mainly our events. So I would say, like, when we go to communities and we ask youth if they know like what Byte is, what we do, most often we hear people say like, oh, do you guys plan the skate competition, or do you run like the Battle of the Bands? So we're most known, I would say, for like our community events. Sometimes the odd youth will be like, yeah, I think I was in a workshop of yours. So yeah, we're like very well known, I think, for our community events. Both Battle of the Bands and the skate comp support youth mental health by creating spaces for youth to try new things or to grow their skills. We've had a few youth like really flourish after the last couple of years at these events, and they just keep coming back and like they're expressing their gratitude for them, to have the ability to connect with mentors and like build those skills there and get recognition for them. As well, last year we hosted a screening in partnership with the Northern Council for Global Cooperation. We hosted a screening of the film The Grizzlies, which was a really successful but like small community event that we held, which we would love to get to do more of, which is the film focuses a lot about youth mental health and suicide in the North, specifically in Nunavut. So we were able to show that, as well as to create an opportunity for some dialogue around mental health in our communities. We've also facilitated at external events such as the Jack.org Northern Summit last year. We've participated in the Millennial or Reverse Town Hall, as well as the upcoming CBYF Youth Summit we'll be attending to offer some of our workshops. Yeah, our workshops are really an extension of our mandate. They allow us to create space for youth to discover their passions and harness their skills. And we are really, really fortunate to be able to work with other organizations to provide these opportunities. Yeah, we also want to just like honor the work that they're doing within our communities, all of the organizations that we get to work with on the Communities Building Youth Futures Collective, as well as like Skate for Life Alliance. We wouldn't be able to run any of our skate competition workshops, as well as many First Nations and municipal governments that are running youth and recreation programming in the communities. We wouldn't be able to come to communities and facilitate without them. Mike, if you can jump to slide number 9. So this is a brief, maybe a little confusing overview of our Healthy Minds workshop. So we offer Healthy Minds as like a 2-hour workshop where we kind of focus on 4 main themes, which I've laid out here. So we talk about like factors that affect our mental health, as well as we talk about stress, and we talk about healthy and unhealthy coping strategies, and a bit about self-care. In a nutshell, that's our workshop. All of our workshops are youth-led, like I mentioned before, so no workshop is going to be exactly the same. We value the knowledge and the opinion and experiences of all of the participants in each workshop, and so the youth feedback is really what makes each workshop unique. So this workshop in particular, as well as our Safer Partying workshop, focuses on prevention and harm reduction. We all know that youth are going to experiment or be curious about different topics, and instead of stigmatizing those, we want to normalize it. And we want to be able to give them tools to have a conversation and give them tools to make informed decisions about those choices, as well as identifying different signs, whether that's signs of an overdose or signs of burnout, signs of an abusive relationship, as well as connecting them to resources in their community, whether that is people or safe places, organizations, professionals, if that's like a hotline, whatever. So yeah, this is a pretty standard template for like our workshops. Usually we try and focus on a couple different themes, and then the youth build upon those to be able to flesh everything out, which is really, really wonderful, because you get different answers every time. And it honestly, some of the times youth are teaching us and they're the professionals. So if we can jump to slide 10, that would be great. Yeah, so when we were approached, we wanted to really reflect on like what our organization was doing for youth mental health, as well as incorporating what feedback we've heard directly from youth on what supports that they need and what's working, as well as like what supports we as an organization need to fulfill those. Like if you can jump forward to the next slide, that'd be great. So earlier I mentioned Youth That Leads. So this is a summary of some of the feedback that we got from the participants. Basically, project staff gathered feedback from the youth participants about like what's already working in their communities, things that they still need to reduce stigma around, and things that we need support with still to create. And the main 3 feedback themes that we got for supports is creating land-based and culturally relevant programming, as well as training, mentorship, and employment opportunities, and supportive community groups and spaces. So I feel like a lot of need for in-person support, which is a bit hard to figure out with the pandemic, but there's a lot of things that we are trying to help out with that. So we are working to still bring in-person programming as much as we can, and hoping that we can fill some of these gaps, as well as touching on the second point here. A big thing for us is being able to provide youth with, say, like safe talk, assist, and trauma-informed training. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, so that is basically three main things that we've heard from youth in the communities. If we can jump to slide 12, please. As an organization, or sorry, the previous slide. Thank you. Yeah, as an organization, like I can only speak for what our team has brainstormed and what we need to be able to fill these gaps. We have narrowed it down to 3 things again. So we've seen a real change in our relationships with schools and teachers over the last 2 years of the pandemic. It's harder for us to organize community tours, to facilitate in-person workshops with changing restrictions and schools pivoting to online learning. So we can imagine how difficult it is for them to adapt to those changes. So we would love to develop some sort of a partnership with the Department of Education to make it easier for us to have workshops within the schools and to be able to make that more accessible for teachers. The second thing for us would be more capacity building within our own organization. So being able to get living work certifications for our staff and creating more room to grow in our programming, as well as funding and building partnerships. And lastly, closer collaboration with Yukon government, BITE, and other stakeholders. We want to avoid working in silos. Oftentimes, multiple groups will have similar ideas, and we end up with several different projects, all trying to accomplish the same goals when there could be collaboration and a larger outcome. For instance, a couple years ago, Integrated Support Services for Yukon Youth, ISSY, if people remember, transitioned into Skookum Gym Friendship Center because they were already offering many of the same services. As well as a more common example right now, looking at the Yukon Youth Climate Panel, as well as the First Nations Climate Action Fellowship, are doing very similar work, but yet we're still creating that maybe because it's accessible and it's requested. So yeah, just trying to work together. All right, we can jump to the last slide and take any questions. I'm not sure if this question in the chat is directed at me, but it says, would you be interested in some alternative resources for teens and mental health addictions? Smart Recovery has many resources, including a teen and youth workbook, as well as elaborating. Okay, great. It is directed at me, as well as can I identify the CBYF acronym. I can totally elaborate on that again. It stands for Communities Building Youth Futures, which is a branch of that project that exists within the Yukon, and it covers the whole scope of the Yukon territory. Awesome. Yeah, thank you for your time. If there's any other questions, my email is abby@yukonyouth.com. It was listed as .ca on the platform, but that was incorrect. Yeah, or you can email to info@yukonyouth.com. So yeah, thanks for having us today. I was really glad I got to speak, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you so much, Abby. And we'll make sure that the email address is updated on the platform right away. If anyone would like to reach out to Abby, or of course, fill out the submission feedback form in the session, and we will be sure to direct any questions to Abby afterwards.
Thanks.
You all. Thanks, Abby.